Yo, what's good? So, I just caught SportsCenter on ESPN, and the entire panel was absolutely going off about multiple massive stories involving the Golden State Warriors that have fans simultaneously frustrated about a tough loss, but also genuinely excited about what they're seeing from the young core. There's serious buzz and speculation emerging that the Warriors are showing legitimate interest in potentially acquiring CJ McCollum from the Washington Wizards in what could be a significant veteran addition that helps bridge the gap between their championship window and their developing young talent. But before we dive deep into those trade rumors, the SportsCenter crew had to break down what just happened in this absolutely brutal loss to the Sacramento Kings. Real quick though, if you're loving this Warriors content and analysis, do me a huge favor and smash that like button right now. It literally takes 1 second, but makes a massive difference in getting this out to more Warriors fans who need these updates. Every like helps the algorithm show this to thousands more people in Dub Nation. So hit that like button, and let's keep this energy going as we dive deeper into what's happening with Golden State. This game just proves that the young Warriors are built completely different, according to the analyst. Despite an absolutely heartbreaking and frustrating loss for the Golden State Warriors tonight against Sacramento, some young players stepped up dramatically and proved exactly why they represent the future of this franchise. They certainly gave it their absolute all tonight, but it was another tough loss for the Dubs in a game against the Kings, where Sacramento was missing DeMar DeRozan, missing Malik Monk, and missing Keegan Murray from their rotation. For Golden State, they were without Steph Curry, without Andrew Wiggins, and without Draymond Green. Of course, Dennis Schroeder, who was just acquired in a trade, has still yet to play his first game for the Warriors this season, so he's out as well, dealing with an injury. It's another genuinely tough loss that drops Golden State's record, but the SportsCenter panel will absolutely say this: there were some incredibly impressive and encouraging performances from the younger players on this roster. Gui Santos, in his first career NBA start, puts up an absolutely explosive 30-point bomb. Moses Moody drops 28 points in an efficient performance. Jonathan Kuminga looked solid throughout, contributing across the board. Brandon Podziemski, who some fans affectionately call Pods or AirPods, had legitimately his best overall game of the season so far, with a team-leading +14 rating. Podziemski hit a massive clutch three-pointer at the end of the game, finished with 9 assists and 9 rebounds, just 1 assist and 1 rebound away from recording a triple-double. The analysts don't think Pods has too many of those stat lines in his young career, maybe doesn't even have one yet, so it's an absolutely tough loss. And the Warriors dropped to 5-4 on the season, while the Kings improved to 3-6. According to the updated standing. It's one of those games where you watch the younger developing players battle and compete, play really well at a high level, but they just can't quite get it done in the final moment. They can't quite cross that checkered flag with the victory in hand. And it genuinely hurts, because this was one of those frustrating games where Golden State was ahead for the entire contest, leading for most of the night. The officiating hurt the Warriors significantly. According to the SportsCenter breakdown, in that crucial third quarter alone, the Kings ended up shooting 18 free throws in just that one period. It felt like Sacramento was getting every single call from the officials that Golden State wasn't receiving on the other end. The panel thought it was an absolutely abysmal officiating job down the stretch toward the final minutes of the game. And obviously, officiating is never the primary reason you lose a basketball game. There are always lots of other contributing factors and things within your control. But when the Kings shoot 47% from three-point range for the entire game, it's going to be incredibly tough to beat them regardless of the circumstances. But there were several questionable calls that the analysts thought were travels that were not called on Sacramento. And then very similar positions and movements were called as travels against the Golden State Warriors. Some critical decisions toward the end of the game made a massive difference in the outcome. The SportsCenter crew thinks if Jonathan Kuminga, instead of fading away on that final potential game-tying shot, had attacked toward the basket aggressively, he probably scores. and potentially sends the game to overtime. So yeah, the Warriors were just a couple of crucial plays away from victory. Last night in Phoenix, they found a way to get it done and made just enough winning plays. Tonight, against Sacramento, they were just a few plays away from getting the job done, but couldn't execute in crunch time. But now, let's talk about the CJ McCollum trade speculation, because this is legitimately intriguing for the Warriors' championship aspirations and roster construction moving forward. McCollum's disappointing and underwhelming performance this season with the Washington Wizards, combined with his expiring contract situation, has generated significant trade rumors throughout NBA circles that the Wizards would be actively looking to move him to a contending team still during this season, before the February trade deadline. A trade involving McCollum would allow Washington to commit even more fully and completely to their organizational reconstruction and the long-term development of their promising young, talented core. The SportsCenter panel emphasized that McCollum makes enormous sense for the Warriors' specific needs and championship timeline. Golden State desperately needs another veteran shot creator and proven scorer who can take offensive pressure off an aging Steph Curry during crucial playoff possessions and carry the scoring load when Curry rests. McCollum is an established veteran with extensive postseason experience, an elite mid-range scoring game, the proven ability to create his own shot in isolation situations, and that clutch gene that consistently shows up in the biggest moments. Pairing McCollum with Curry in the backcourt would give the Warriors two guards who can both initiate the offense and score efficiently at all three levels of the court. The basketball fit would be particularly seamless because McCollum doesn't need constant ball dominance to be effective. He's thrived throughout his career playing off-ball in Portland alongside Damian Lillard. In Golden State's beautiful motion-heavy offensive system under Steve Kerr, McCollum could operate as both a primary initiator when Curry rests and as a devastating catch-and-shoot weapon when playing alongside Steph. His playoff pedigree and championship experience would be absolutely invaluable for a Warriors team that's trying to maximize their remaining championship window. The analysts think if Golden State can acquire McCollum for a reasonable trade package that doesn't completely gut their young developing depth or sacrifice too many future assets, it's absolutely a move worth exploring very aggressively. McCollum would provide that veteran scoring punch and playoff savvy that could be the difference between another first-round playoff exit and a legitimate finals run. But now let's get into the key takeaways from tonight's performance, because there's a lot to unpack. The SportsCenter crew wants to emphasize play Gui Santos more consistently. The organization literally just assigned him to the Santa Cruz G League affiliate, and Santos clearly made an emphatic statement tonight, screaming, "Hey, I absolutely do not want to be playing in Santa Cruz anymore." After watching tonight's performance, it's crystal clear to Steve Kerr and the Warriors organization, according to the panel, that yes, Santos is a younger developing guy who they want to continue developing. Yes, they have other good veteran players on the roster, but the harsh reality is they're at the very end of Steph Curry's legendary career. They're approaching the end of Draymond Green's career and nearing the end of Wiggins' prime years. The Warriors are at a critical point where it has to be a win-now mentality and approach. Gui Santos will help Golden State win basketball games more effectively than some of the other rotation players on this roster, particularly at those guard and wing positions, and you saw that on full display tonight. Santos dropped 30 points shooting very efficiently, and he continues to be a remarkably smart playmaker with excellent basketball IQ for his age and experience level. Everything the analysts said about other young players like Pat Spencer and Quinton Post, how greatly they played in that previous victory against Phoenix. The frustrating inconsistency of those developing players really hurts you in close games. Post was genuinely awful tonight after looking so promising. He did a couple things defensively pretty well with his length and shot blocking, but he didn't shoot it well at all on the offensive end, and missed several easy layups and bunnies around the rim. Both Post and Spencer hurt the Warriors' chances, but Gui Santos was absolutely fantastic. and played an amazing game. Obviously, the best performance of his young career with 30 points. Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga continue showing up consistently, and the Sports Center crew will take a closer look at the box score. But they thought both players had genuinely solid, well-rounded performances. And then Brandon Podziemski had what the panel thinks was legitimately the best game of his entire season so far. 14 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, team leading plus 14, highest on the entire roster. The analysts thought Podziemski just looked completely in control tonight at every single moment. It felt like whenever Pods had the basketball, he already had a decision made up in his mind before even receiving the pass. And then he was executing that decision and shooting with confidence. Podziemski was fantastic throughout, hitting that massive clutch three-pointer down the stretch to cut Sacramento's lead to just 3 points, giving the Warriors a legitimate opportunity to tie the game on the final possession. The Sports Center crew wishes Kuminga would have stepped confidently into that final three-point attempt and shot it with conviction instead of hesitating. They know Golden State missed a similar three a couple possessions before, but Kuminga is a good enough three-point shooter at this stage of his development to step up and make that shot in that moment. And then there's Dennis Schroeder, who the panel has to talk about. Oh man, one of the most infuriating players in the league right now for Warriors fans. He's a guy who last season was actually on the Warriors roster via trade and did not play well for a significant stretch of game. Schroeder was very underwhelming in his first stint with Golden State. There were occasional nights where he stepped up and played well, but there was a stretch where he missed something close to 30 consecutive three-point attempts. And then, of course, tonight playing for Sacramento, Schroeder decides he wants to be the best player in the world and hits multiple straight clutch three-pointers to end the game and seal the victory. That's an absolutely frustrating result to swallow, especially when it's Dennis Schroeder and other role players having career-type games against you. DeMar DeRozan didn't even play particularly great or shoot efficiently, that's for sure. So it's a frustrating loss. Golden State fought hard throughout, but it felt like the Kings fought just a little bit harder down the stretch in those crucial possessions. The analysts are not typically guys who make overarching blanket statements like, "This specific player lost us the game," but they think Al Horford maybe genuinely lost Golden State this game tonight. If Horford even makes just one of those wide-open three-point attempts, it's a significantly tighter game at the end, and maybe the Warriors have the lead. Horford had 8 or 9 rebounds, which is solid, but if you're going to sit out the first night of a back-to-back to rest, and then essentially lose the game on the second night with your poor shooting performance, the Sports Center crew has a hard time being thrilled that he's on this roster at that contract number. And again, it's still early in the season, and Horford had one bad game, which isn't the end of the world. He was legitimately great against the Denver Nuggets in that previous matchup. Hopefully Horford can rediscover that form again on Friday, but he has had some genuinely bad performances stacked up back-to-back over these last couple of games. And the panel feels for him because he seems like a guy who can be a fantastic contributor and make a lot of winning plays. But when Horford plays like he did tonight, going 0 for 7 from three-point range, you don't feel super great about the overall impact he's having on this team's championship chance. And then, yeah, when any opponent shoots 47% from three-point range like Sacramento did, it's going to be incredibly difficult to beat them regardless of what else happens. So you have to swallow your pride a bit, tip your cap to the opponent, and move forward. Looking at the detailed box score breakdown, Jonathan Kuminga played 36 minutes and had 24 points with 9 rebounds and 3 assists. The turnovers continue being a significant issue for Kuminga's overall game. He's got to clean that aspect up, but he shot it pretty well tonight, and his free throws went down when it mattered. Quinton Post didn't play well despite starting. In 16 minutes of action, the Warriors went with small ball lineups for pretty much the entire night. You see, the bench players got close to the same minutes, or even more than Post. So even though Post started, Steve Kerr didn't stick with him for very long once it became clear he wasn't effective. Post gets credit for 2 blocks and 2 steals defensively, but he didn't hit a single shot tonight offensively and didn't look great. Moving down the starting lineup, Moses Moody was absolutely fantastic, with 28 points, shooting it very efficiently at 6 for 11 from three-point range and 9 for 15 from the field overall, while hitting all his free throws. And then Podziemski had the highest plus-minus on the entire team and did everything you want from a point guard except protect the basketball. There were 3 different occasions tonight where Brandon Podziemski had turnovers for absolutely no reason. Just in transition or right off an inbound pass, simply throwing the ball away carelessly. And when you think about this type of close game where you lose the turnover battle and lose the three-point shooting percentage battle, that's ultimately what it comes down to. In a tight game like this, it's all about possessions. You absolutely have to value and protect every possession. The Warriors turned the ball over way too much tonight, with 18 total turnovers. That's still far too many. You simply cannot have 18 turnovers in a game and realistically expect to win when the opposing team shoots 47% from three-point range. Pat Spencer had a genuinely rough performance tonight, coming off the bench. Gary Payton II came in and hit 1 three-pointer. Buddy Hield hit 1 three-pointer and had a couple other shots, plus a couple free throws. But listen, if Al Horford is going to play 27 minutes, he's got to hit at least 1 shot. Going 0 for 7 from three-point range is completely unacceptable production. The Sports Center panel isn't overreacting to this single loss, but you can probably detect that the tone and energy is lower and more frustrated because tonight's game was genuinely reminiscent of the last couple of disappointing seasons for the Warriors. A close competitive game where you battle really hard for 48 minutes, but you don't make the crucial winning plays down the stretch, and careless turnovers absolutely kill you. That's been the story of this team over the last couple years. The reason Golden State won the championship in 2022 was because they eliminated the careless turnovers, they hit their shots consistently, and they made clutch plays down the stretch in close games.